Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I am JB in studio, and today we are lucky enough to have broadcaster, World Series champion, All-Star Ron Darling joining us in the cage to take his cuts. Ron, thanks so much for being with us, bud.
Thanks, JB. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to get someone of your caliber, intellect, and stature in the cage to swing away at fans' questions. So I'm going to start with Twitter, and then while fans get their webcams fired up, because I know it takes some time to get those hamsters getting the energy going to those webcams, and then they'll join us in the cage. Let's go to Twitter. Jim B. Olive wants to know, who is the Mets' most promising young pitcher, Ron?
Well, that's a great question. There's so many good ones. So you have a guy who's not even pitched this entire year that you think could be a Cy Young candidate, Matt Harvey, next year. But if you look at the guys this year, I think that Zach Wheeler has established himself as one of those number one guys. Jacob deGrom has established himself that he's in the big leagues to stay. And if you look at the guys in the minor leagues, Noah Syndergaard, not the greatest season this year, but he's got great potential. Great big-bodied right-hander who throws 95+. Steven Matz, a tall left-hander, a local kid from Long Island, might have a chop to make the team in spring training. Rafael Montero, of course, who was up and made 6 or 7 starts for the big league club this year. And it goes on and on. There's so many names for the Mets and so many great arms that if you're a pitcher like I used to be, you get real excited to see him pitch.
You certainly do, and we're excited to have you break down show the prospects there that are lined up for the Mets. That's a lot of starting pitching, a lot of strong pitching over the next several years. And I'm going to follow up with that with another question from CH, also known as Wrath of Han. Should deGrom be the NL Rookie of the Year?
Well, I absolutely think he should. I do the games here, so I try to take myself away from that and try to judge it objectively. I think Billy Hamilton is his only rival, and I think he's been fantastic. No one knew if he could play center. No one knew if he could hit enough. He knew he could steal bases, and I think he's done all three admirably. But after the last start by deGrom, when he struck out the first 8 hitters of the game, tied a record that was held with Jim Deshaies, or held now with Jim Deshaies. When you see a rookie do something historically, or as historical as that, boy, it really raises his bar, to tell you the truth, for me. And I think that he's going to be the Rookie of the Year this year.
All right, that is certainly something to keep our eyes on as the phrase degrominant became an important part of the lexicon here in baseball 2014. It is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Fans, you're the key, just like this fan right here. What's your name, where you're from? What's your question for Ron?
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm from LA, California, and I was wondering, what's the best Mets play of this season?
Could you repeat that again, Brittany? I'm sorry.
What was the best Mets play of this season?
The Mets play, boy, they had a few of them. I think if I think of a theme of the way they played, and Brittany, I live in L.A. too, in Santa Monica, so I love it out there. I think the theme of their great plays is starts and ends with Juan Lagares, their center fielder. He just had so many defensive plays that were the wow factor for me. I played for 15 years. I've been broadcasting for 9 years, and he's the best defensive center fielder I've seen all in my entire career. So watching him patrol center field, thematically, he made so many great plays. I'm going to give it to him.
He is certainly an exciting part of the Mets' future, without a doubt, which leads to another question back on Twitter. This is from Michael Najib, forgive me if I don't pronounce it right, also known as @ProAccountant. The rotation seems to be set for next season. What moves should we be looking forward to in the offseason?
Well, I won't try the pronunciation either, JB. I'll go with pro-accountant. I think when you look at the ball club, the starting pitching, young pitching is going to be great. The bullpen is strong with great arms, Vic Black, Jeurys Familia, and Henry Mejia. So let's take the pitching out of it. Offensively, I think they need a couple of bats, some batters to come up from the AAA or AA ranks and play a big part in the team. I think Lagares has emerged as an offensive weapon. D'Arnaud, their young catcher, has emerged as a weapon. So I think what it gets down to is their 2 veteran players, David Wright and Curtis Granderson. I think they hold the key. When you're paying guys that kind of money, and they're really the foundation of your team, both guys have underperformed for whatever reason. They probably can explain it better than I can. but so much is expected of them. And I think if they come back and have a big year next year, it'll solve a lot of their problems, and I think the Mets will contend for the postseason.
All right, the Mets looking forward to the postseason in 2015 as we talk here with Ron Darling as we approach October in 2014. So, Ron, many may or may not know it was Hawaii, Yale, World Series. That's sort of the short bio, but mixed up in there is a question from Dice 845. What do you remember, Ron, most about the longest no-hitter in NCAA history? And do you remember the St. John's player that broke it up?
Well, thank you so much for the question. I don't know what it says about me that the greatest game I ever pitched, I lost. So it was an amazing moment. You know, St. John's was a perennial power. They were a team that was known everywhere as the best team on the East Coast. I think their record that year was 54-5 or something else. They had Frank Viola, who had become a two-time Cy Young Award winner on that staff. John Franco, who had over 400 saves in the major leagues, was also on that staff. So it was an amazing team, amazing game. I remember going in and just hoping that my Yale team wouldn't be embarrassed, and we did better than that. We made a game out of it. And you're asking me who broke it up. I know his first name's Steve, left-handed hitter, played second base. I can't come up with his last name right now, and that's horrible for him. But he's got the last laugh. He got the hit.
I believe I was given some internet knowledge. It was Steve Scaffa, I think was the last name. There you go. But you're right.
Steve Scaffa. He's going to hate that I forgot his name. But that happens on live TV, JB. You know that.
I do know that. And you know what? As you said, he feels okay because he knows who did it. He knows who broke that no-hitter up. This is the
well, he got the hit, and he scored the runs. So what else does he want?
That's right. Steve's enough. One name's enough then if he's done all that. You hurt everybody's feelings at Yale. That's not cool. Another fan joins us here in the chatting cage. What's your name? Where are you from? What's your question for Ron?
Hey, Ronnie. It's Justin from East Rockaway, New York. I was just wondering, who are your picks to make the World Series?
Well, I think I'm going to be doing the postseason, and when I look at the ball clubs, I really like the Nationals. I know a lot of people love the Dodgers. How could you not love Kershaw? How could you not love Greinke? 2 nights ago, Kemp and Puig got into it. That's the one thing I don't like. You know, occasionally they have some dissension over there, and the Nationals seem to be playing their best ball and as a team, and they've done it without Ryan Zimmerman, who's one of their best clutch players in the history of that franchise. So I'm going to pick the Nationals, and I don't think that's going out on a limb. And I think what we're going to have is a World Series with Bryce Harper and his gang, a young superstar, against Mike Trout and his gang with the Angels. So Angels-Nationals is what I see in the World Series. I'm probably going to be dead wrong, but if I'm not, remind me.
we'll mark back to this chatting cage, and we'll point it out. But exactly. Not bad, a coast-to-coast one. That would certainly be exciting. I want to follow up with that. So the O's and the Nationals have sort of have punched their ticket already, so they have the longest time to sort of gear up. Do you see that as a pro? I mean, obviously it's great to be in and locked in, but that much time of playing baseball where things are safe, is that an issue?
It can be an issue. Congratulations to both ball clubs. Baltimore's done it without Wieters all year, without Machado most of the year, without Davis for September, and guys like Flaherty and Steve Pearce, J.J. Hardy, and others have come up. Their starting rotation's been great. I think what's amazing, I think, when you look at those ball clubs is that, you know, they've just done such a great job of Buck Showalter getting those guys to concentrate on who they have and not who they didn't have. And congratulations to them. Nationals, of course, 2 out of 3 years now. They're starting to look like one of the dominant teams the next 4 or 5 years. But you're right. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I think both ball clubs have a chance.
Will be something we look forward to. October's getting geared up, and you can feel it. It's getting palpable. Pennant races are underway. Very exciting. We obviously 86, a monumental season for the Mets franchise, for you as well. So I'm going to put this up as a multiple choice answer for you, Ron, because there's a lot of tweets about 2 separate storylines. So Billy the Kid leads one, and Mr. Right 14 leads the other. I'll let you answer. What's your favorite Davey Johnson story, or what's your favorite Keith Hernandez story?
Oh, geez. Boy, I could go either way. There's so many of them. I think I can give a quick story on both.
Okay.
I remember Davey Johnson. I pitched a game in San Francisco. I went, 6 innings, ended up getting the win, but didn't pitch great. And he blasted me in the paper the next day, said I didn't throw enough curveballs. So the next start, I was against Pittsburgh. I shut them out, struck out 11, and didn't throw any curveballs just to spite him. And he came out in the paper the next day. He said, see, when Darling throws his curveball, he can have that kind of success. And I hadn't thrown one. So I don't know if he knows that story, but now he does. And far as Keith's my broadcast partner. He's a great friend, and he is just the greatest guy to be around. And just things come his way. To give you a story of what it's like to be Keith Hernandez, in the booth one day before the game, first there was a bevy of beautiful girls came in to say hello to Keith, one after another, a kiss on the cheek. He left. And prior to that, he had mentioned on the air about Crocs shoes. He liked Crocs shoes. The Croc people came in and gave him a dozen pair of Crocs so he could have. And then later, about 5 minutes later, he had done an appearance, and someone came in and handed him a big check. So that's what the life is like as Keith Hernandez. Beauties, Crocs, and a check.
Beauties, Crocs, and cash. The Keith Hernandez story.
That's right.
As told by World Series champion All-Star Ron Darling. Ron, I can't thank you enough. I speak for the fans as well. I know you got a lot going on as we approach October. A real pleasure talking to you. Thanks for being with us.
JB, anytime. Thank you very much, and thanks to the fans.
All right, that's Ron Darling. I'm JB. We'll see you next time on another round of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage.